if you're really thinking to yourself that this is the background and the appearance I chose to put myself in for this kind of video, I've tried to film this video 3 times. Let me tell you, this is as good as it's gonna get. Yes, hi, hello, my name is Laura. I've been living and working in Japan for the past 6 years on the JET program, much to the dismay of my parents. They're really not happy about it. I got a comment from somebody on YouTube, I believe, but I think they follow me on TikTok as well as YouTube, asking if I would feel comfortable enough doing a JET program Q&A, essentially, and I'm under no obligation anymore to censor myself in regards to my job. Well, I was never really good at doing that anyway. So I thought, sure, why not? So, disclaimer. I can only speak for my JET experience. I cannot at all speak for the entire JET experience as a whole. I can only talk about me, because I only know me. And me is fill in the blank. So if you're watching this trying to get a better idea of what life on JET is like, I highly recommend watching several videos, several different opinions, several different perspectives on life on the JET program, because I will not be able to cover all of that, and I'm boring. So if I'm going through this very fast, it's because my battery is going to die, and also I've tried to record this 3 times, so I've had 3 times of practice, so to speak, so it's probably still going to suck. Alright, great. What did you talk about in your statement of purpose, if you can remember? Heap and pile of bull. I remember thinking that the main thing I needed to get across in my statement of purpose is that, oh yeah, the train's gonna happen, I live with it. Now you did too. I needed to convince more of like myself rather than the people going through all the applications that having a BFA in musical theater was not at all useless to this specific situation, and that it's actually a very big strength. The one thing I would say about your statement of purpose is be sure to talk about like what you would be able to do for the community, what you would be able to do for your school. Ask not what America can do for you, but what you can do for America. That type thing. Like, they already have your resume. If you spend the entire time talking about how, like, incredibly qualified you are, they don't care. You have your resume already. So they already kind of have the general gist of what your qualifications would be. I mean, definitely talk up your accomplishments, talk up your strengths, but talk about how your strengths are a good match, especially for like life in Japan, life at a school, how you would be able to benefit your local community, what you're looking forward to in like maybe a smaller community or a city, you know, like talk about more things that pertain to Japan, not to you. What were your thoughts when going to Japan, and how was it leaving your family? I mean, JET really likes to do this thing where nobody has any information about anything ever until like 2 weeks before you're supposed to go, so it really just doesn't leave you any time to prepare. And even then, when I came to Japan, I would say I knew what was happening like a month in. So that was fun. I mean, I didn't really have tremendous expectations. It was like kind of the first time I'm living away from my family even. I was one of those people that used to go home every weekend from college and university, same diff. And like do my laundry and hang out at home type thing, right? Yes. I mean, like, I was excited, but I had no damn idea what was going on. And in terms of leaving my family, I mean, it wasn't fun, I would say. Again, I'm kind of the only person to live away from my family in terms of like halfway across the globe, as they, you know, ever so lovingly like to remind me every time I talk to them. Doesn't ever get old. First time I left, just tears, crying, like hugs, you know, holding on to each other, like holding hands until the last second, then you get on the bus, and then you're on the bus and you're crying, and even then, like, you know, you're like texting mom and dad being like, oh, it's fine, everything's on the bus, it's fine. Then you get to the airport and then you're sad because you're at the airport. And even now I try to go back at least once a year, barring COVID, you know, and it never really gets easier, but you kind of just have a better idea of what to expect because you're gonna be sad for a little bit. How easy was teaching Japanese kids, and do you have any funny or interesting memories? So this is kind of be one of my non-answers. So I didn't really teach kids. I taught teenagers. And so I initially thought I was going to be teaching like elementary kids. That's initially what I went into JET applying for, and then I got senior high school kids. So I would say, like, when people share their funny stories, it's more about like naivety in a situation or just cute, quirky, innocent children things. But a lot of my experiences specifically have to do with like young adults and like more nuanced situations. And situations that have a lot of like detail and specific moments and things that were said to them. So I've shared about stuff like this before. on TikTok, and I learned my lesson real quick. Lots of people threatening to dox me and my students. The internet scares me. Oh, this is gonna be a non-answer of like, I've had a lot of really cool cattle. I've had a lot of really cool moments with my students, or with the kids who were my students. And if any of them, if I were to like share stories with them and any of them were to find videos and hear their old English teacher talking about them, I would be absolutely mortified. So I'm not gonna do that. But I had a really good time. I mean, I probably would not have stayed for 6 years if it was terrible. Do you remember your interview? I like hearing about people's experiences. My interview was terrible. My interview was bad. My interview was not good. So if you want like a little more information specifically about like how to conduct the interview or whatever, my friend Ophelia has a video where she actually knew somebody who was on a panel for the JET interviews. So she has like insider information and stuff and things, so I'll go ahead and put that video in the description that you can watch. It's far better and better detailed than I can give. What? That wasn't even close to words. My friend Ophelia and I, we had this like calculated down to like a science. We wanted to get them before they went to lunch so that they wouldn't be sleepy afterwards, or like something right after they had a break or something like that. We went at the same time because we both had the exact same resume and a BFA in musical theater and a minor in Japanese, so we didn't want to be compared to one another, so we wanted to have separate panels. And her panel was super jazzed about the fact that like she had learned musical theater, and like they were asking, you know, her what musical she would introduce to kids, and like Hamilton just came out, so that was like a perfect answer. I, on the other hand, got people who more so thought that musical theater was a choice I made. Why would you choose that? I lied in my interview. They were like, oh, so what were you planning on doing with musical theater in the future? And I'm like, well, you know, I'd like to be able to like maybe help kids or do stuff in the community, and like maybe do a dance class here or there. Like I'd love to get involved with community theater in Japan and like try and be a part of that little culture, subset of culture. No response, just staring at me like. So then like I would very quickly add on, but you know, in the future I want to go get my teaching certificate, my teaching degree, and so I want to be able to teach musical theater in the future, so I'd love to be able to experience theater in different countries and cultures so I can teach musical theater in the future. And then that's when they would like write little notes and little memos that like I was looking forward to teaching and I was planning on being a teacher. God, I could not imagine me as like a university professor. Oh my god, it'd be a terrible class. So yeah, not good. Watch Ophelia's video. Her video more better than this video. Did you go through culture shock? Yeah. I mean, I'm not unique in that situation. You know, I think everybody experiences culture shock. But I will say people tend to get hung up on different things. I mean, like there are specific things like socially and politically that I will never be able to get over, and that will always annoy me no matter where I go. This is not a Japan-centered thing. This is like an everywhere and like, you know, dismantle the patriarchy type thing, right, Kay? So, that's not really Japan-specific, but there are people who, I mean, especially, like, one thing is people really get caught up on trying to blend in or, you know, try to make sure they don't stick out so much because they feel very self-conscious, or for whatever reason they don't want to, like, offend the population. Listen, I'm 5'8". There's nothing conspicuous about this right here. That's not to stroke my own ego, it's the fact that I'm taller than everyone. I've never made it a point to like fit in or be worried that like I'm wearing something that's too risque or too loud or whatever. I'm just kind of like, listen, I'm gonna exist in this general area. If that bothers you, that says more about you in this situation. I'm gonna go. But I also feel like keeping your expectations fairly low in coming to Japan is a way to kind of help with this. I don't know if it would only help someone like me, now that I think about it. What is life like after JET? It's fine, I guess. I'm currently on unemployment and I'm going through HelloWork and trying to find other jobs, which is kind of what I feel like I would be doing in America if I went back home to America. And like, you know, trying to find a job that doesn't totally blow or totally suck. So, I mean, it's kind of the same. Are ALT teaching jobs after JET common if one wanted to stay in Japan after? Yeah. That's like, I would say 100% of people that I know have also gone into different avenues of English teaching, whether it be like they have a teaching certificate so they can be like a private teacher at a private school, or if they made their own business, or if they're just going through Eikaiwa and like they're trying to get their business moving up through Eikaiwa and like going through in-between jobs or whatever. I would say like 100% of people that I know go to other English jobs after JET. And that's fine. I mean, if there is a need, there's a job. Okay, so those were all the TikTok questions. Oh, I gotta go over Instagram. Who are these people you're showing me? Can you just show me people I follow, please? And none of these ads of people I don't know. That would be super duper. How were you treated by other JETs and foreigners? Fine. Shizuoka has about 200 plus ALTs, so we didn't really have to do that thing where if you're kind of like one of 5 in an entire prefecture, you kind of almost had to get along for the sake of like there's nobody else to talk to. It's kind of a subjective question just based on like I'm a tremendous introvert with this personality, so I don't talk to a lot of people anyway. How did you enjoy teaching kids in Japan? Again, I didn't teach kids, I taught teenagers. It was fine. I mean, there were definitely days where they were teenagers. God love them. And it's actually something that I'm kind of glad I got to teach teenagers, because my god, if teenagers are the same all over the world, that is just like, it's the most universal experience, I feel. It's just everything's the same. It's kind of funny. How's your transition, I taught English. How was your transition from life on the program like JET into another job in Japan where you don't have support? I'm still in between jobs and stuff like that, but even then I am very lucky and I have a rare situation, very unique situation in that I have my friends helping me figure out my job situation. So I still weirdly have a support system, and even then, like, my coworkers, I talk to them and like send messages to them, and they're always talking about how, you know, if I ever have like my own business in the future, like they want to help me and support me. So it's not like the support has gone away. It's just it's manifested itself in a different kind of support, if that makes sense. But I mean, I've always just kind of done things by myself regardless, so a lot of this is not very new. Pros and cons. I would say, like, obviously a massive pro is getting to live and experience an entire culture other than your own. And I've met a lot of great people, I've experienced a lot of great things, and I have like an entire like memory box. I have so many things that I will carry with me for the rest of my life, and it's been amazing and awesome, and that's why, you know, it's okay. And that's, you know, it's such a big reason why I've chosen to stay on longer and try to make something more out of this experience, especially in Shizuoka specifically. I love Shizuoka so much. So obviously that's a huge pro. For cons, again, I did not have any huge specific cons other than like personal things that happened to me, and like, again, the overarching kind of like patriarchal type things that I would not be able to do anything about anyway, and it just says so much about the system as a whole, and like you can't really get mad about it because then you'll just stay mad about it for a very long time, and that takes up so much energy. I mean, other ALTs, there's ALTs who are vastly mistreated by their schools, by their BOEs, by the Kensho. You know, there's ALTs who are overworked, they are treated poorly at their schools. Like, ALTs aren't considered a part of the faculty, they don't, like, get invited to Enkais or Bonenkais or anything like that, and they just kind of get left out. There's been ALTs who, like, aren't allowed to do classes, and they just get shunned to an office to truly do nothing all day, every day, and they don't get to teach classes and things like that. There's other ALTs who are vastly overworked. I think I said that, but like, they'll have the most amount of classes out of any teacher on the faculty, and they have to plan them all themselves, and like some of them even just do them by themselves, which is illegal. You're not allowed to do that. There's so many cons that could possibly happen in that situation, which is why I've said to watch other people talk about their experiences, because I would say, again, I've had a very rare overall positive experience on the JET program, but I don't want to do it anymore. Those were all the questions that I had. If you have any more questions, you can leave them in the comments, and I'll try to answer them as best as I can without writing you an entire novel. I will link Ophelia's video about the JET program, interview, and more stuff specifically about like the application process down below. I would watch that. I would watch any video of people talking about the JET program, and yeah. Okay, bye!